going on, everybody? So today I'm the other day on Cyber Monday, purchased a couple of parts for my SIGs because I'm wanting to get back into carrying these as well. And anyway, I was installing some of the stuff, and I wanted to go over a few things with the SIG since I got them partly taken apart and explain what I'm doing. So the Sig P series have had, first off, all my guns are clear. I'm not going to really bother showing you. But all the Sig P series have had about 3 different generations of hammer spring or mainsprings. This is one of the old West Germans. It's got the long pinned in mainspring. These are kind of a pain, but basically it goes the entire length here, as you can see. And this is a 24-pound hammer spring. Then later on, they went to the it's a shorter spring with a long seat. This was, basically when they started making the guns in America, more or less, until the late 2000s. Nothing is an improvement, but they moved on since then. Even this isn't a factory one, but they went to a shorter mainspring seat. The springs are the same between these two. They're interchangeable, but what they did was they moved this where the spring seats against lower in order to they had the E2 grip in order to fit there. But that's pretty much where everybody's gone, is using these shorter ones now. So as you can see, what I've done, this is a West German, and it had the long mainspring in it. I got a couple of these Grayguns Fat Strut kits, and what it is it comes with it's a new and it's polished fat strut, which might show pretty well, but basically it keeps the spring from coiling up and binding as you're compressing it. It also comes with the shorter seat and a 19 and a 17-pound hammer spring, which lightens the trigger pull up, and a lighter sear spring, which I'll show you in a second. But for comparison's sake, this one, if you look at the hammer strut, it kind of binds up. The spring kind of binds up as you're pulling it. Whereas with this one, the spring is much, and I can tell you that it's smoother. It makes the trigger pull, the double action especially, not as crunchy, which the Sig P series are known for having crunchy double action triggers. We get a lot of bad feels. So what I'm going to do today, I've already done this one. I'll get this one back together, and what I'm going to put the other kit that I bought in this gun. And then what I'm going to end up doing, because this spring, this gun's from 1985, and this is probably the original hammer spring. I'm going to take the strut and everything out of this gun and put it in this gun and go from there. And then I will do a comparison of the triggers and let you know what I think about this Grayguns kit. So I'll be back. Okay, so I had a minor setback. I could show you real quick. So went to put my grips back on this SIG that I had already done, and as you can see, it's wearing the newer style now, because these grips, the old West German ones, will not work with either generation of the newer hammer spring seat, because if you look compared to the old style, there's not much of anything hanging out past that lip right there. and that's where the grips kind of sit in there. Okay, if you try to put, and it was the same with this short one that was in the Grayguns kit, but if you try to seat these old grips against the either of these, because they have this extra piece on each side, it rubs against the grips right there. So those grips are not going back on, obviously. Luckily I still had a spare set of these grips for the 226. So anyway, that one's good to go now. Let me put these grips on real quick, and these don't have screws. I'll just slap these on. So I won't be doing anything to this because I won't be able to get it to fit anyway. Now, so honestly, this one's really a bad example because it's so well shot in that it's really not that bad, but there is, you can feel the grit. This one now, the Grayguns hammer spring, for one, it's lighter. How much, I don't know, I don't have a trigger gauge, but it's a 19-pound hammer spring, so take it for what you will. Definitely smoother. And like I said, there's nothing else done to the inside of this gun other than being lubricated with TW25 grease. The sear spring did help, I think, also. Take the single action. Yeah, it's not bad. Of course, it's got the long reset set that Sigs are known for. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do this other one, and I will be back. So a little closer look here. So this is the strut that was in my stainless slide one, my newer one that has a light on it. So it's the old short style strut, which had the longer seat. And as you can see how it's pretty thin compared to the spring. Like if you can see how, and what that allows is the spring to bind up as it's compressing. Don't mind that this one's I polished it off, and in some areas, but it's a mem part. You can tell by the casting on the sides. So it makes it a little grittier anyway. It has this angle on it, but see, that's actually, if it were on the other side, it would make the trigger pull smoother, because the side that it flexes against is this side. So it would be smoother if it went like that, but it doesn't. The way the Grayguns works, you can see how much fatter it is. Basically, it just doesn't give the spring the opportunity to move like that. Like it's, if I put this one on here and I try to do that, it's just going to fall off. So that's how the idea behind this one is. Plus looks like it's nickel PTFE or whatever. So it's like finish, very smooth. So I'm going to put that one on and see how it feels. I've already got the sear spring in, the new sear spring. First time you do one of these, it's kind of a pain, but it's really not that bad. My good old beat up Glock Armor's 332nd punch that I use for just about everything. That's pretty much, and a Gerber is all I've used today. So anyway, I'll be back once I get this together. Alright, so comparing again, this one, my old, this around the 123,000 serial number, 1985 vintage, the very early in importation. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crunchy, but it's shot in, so and the hammer springs really don't wear out too often. Somebody has obviously, this thing's been shot enough that someone's maintained it, replaced the breech block roll pin. This one's tight still. I'll probably be doing that. I do have new pins coming in because I'm going to fix that chrome one. And anyway, this one's, I don't shoot that one very much because I'm not saying the frames wore out. The finish is still, the anodizing is still good on the frame rails, which is where these wear out. But it's kind of loose. Some of these I've noticed over the years weren't fit as tight in the West German ones. You can hear it rattling versus this one's really tight. But anyway, so with this one, it's, because all the parts still have the original finish on them, I haven't polished anything. It's still got some grit, but it's much smoother in double action. This one has been polished up over the years, and it's been shot pretty well. Plus, it's got this Grayguns flat trigger, this double adjustable. You see it? That's all the pre-travel I've got versus a normal one. There's a bit of pre-travel there. Also, if you take a look at the over travel on these, it's quite a bit versus this one. That's as far back as the trigger goes. So that actually kind of, I'm not saying it helps with reset, but it does, shorten the trigger movement a little bit. This one's very smooth. Polishing up the trigger bar and the hammer and sear where they rotate and whatnot. These are MIM parts, theoretically. This one could be smoother because it has the original non-MIM parts that have a smoother surface to them, so polishing them up further would make them better. Anyway, that's just do I think it helps? Yeah. That kit, if nothing else, on this one, going from a 24-pound hammer spring to a 19 does lighten the load and the trigger pull weight, but it also made it a little bit smoother. So I'd rather have a heavy, smooth double action than a light, crunchy one. Makes it better and easier to make hits. Anyway, just a quick thing I was doing today. So until next time, I'll see y'all later.